All right, let's get started. Welcome everyone to another episode of The Dig, where we talk about everything from volleyball, training, and we dig deeper into the life behind the person. And I'm very honored and happy to introduce our guest today, which is Asas. Am I pronouncing that last name
Yes,
correctly?
that's correct.
He is the founder of Volleywood, which is the biggest blog on the internet and has so many hits every month. And it's a great place for you guys to go to find out all the latest stuff that's happening in the international volleyball community, not just in the US. And it deals not just with volleyball related stuff, but some cool life stuff too. Like you kind of go into the personal lives of some of the players too, right?
I try.
Yeah.
For
And
the most part, yes.
And Ace is also an avid volleyball player. So he's a longtime player himself in the Bay Area. He's also started his own league, and he also hosts his tournaments. So if you want to check out his tournaments or his leagues, you can also check him out on the Facebook.
Coach Donnie, Sensei. First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to guest on The Dig, which is really cool. I really like the whatever you're doing. I like it. Yeah, so hello everyone. My name is Ace and I am the founder of Volleywood, which is the world's largest volleyball blog and of course home of the best volleyball fans from all over the world. So I think that would be the best way to describe Volleywood. Just really short, but at the same time catchy and very kind of like this how do you call this? Short but strong. Like
Yeah.
you'll remember it because at the end of the day, it's really volleyball and Hollywood equals Volleywood. So there you go.
So that's where the name comes from. All
Yes,
right.
yeah. It's about the sport, the players, the lifestyle, the fans, and everything else. So it's really like Hollywood.
All right. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself in terms of like where you grew up and how'd you got into volleyball, what you do for your current job, stuff like that.
So I grew up in Cebu City, Philippines. If you are familiar with the Philippines, so there are three main group of islands, which is Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. I come from Cebu, which is in the Visayas or the central part of the Philippines. And you may have heard this, Donnie, but have you heard of the whale sharks? Not yet, but Cebu is the home of the whale sharks in the Philippines. That's where I grew up. I started playing volleyball. I think it was 94. I feel so ancient right now.
Nice.
My oldest brother introduced the sport to me. He would just ask me that, hey, can you just stand there while I hit the volleyball? More of like a pepper partner, but not really. I was like a punching bag, pretty
There you
much.
go.
So that's how it all started for me. And then I started to kind of enjoy it. It was really fun for me. And then I watched some volleyball matches on TV. I think it was the 1996 FIVB Grand Prix. And it was the Cuban match against Brazil that I really got hooked up. And I was just like, wow, this is just really fun. I see myself playing the sport. And from then on, I haven't stopped playing. So that's about more than 20 years.
Yeah.
I feel so old, but more than 20 years. And then aside from Bollywood, I actually have a full-time job, which is in the real estate industry. So yeah.
Very cool. Hey, that's a great intro. I see a lot of photos of you and your mom, so it sounds like you're pretty close to your mom, huh?
I am. My mom she's not here in the States. So I'm actually based in California, in the Bay Area, where Coach Donnie is from as well. My mom is in Australia, and she's one of my biggest heroes. And she's a cancer survivor, so I'm really close to her. She's one of the best and most amazing people that I know in this world. So yeah.
Yeah, as all of our moms are definitely the strongest people we know.
For sure, yes.
So how did you end up creating Volleywood? Because you started off as a player and as a fan, and then all of a sudden you end up creating this crazy blog or blog. I guess it's more of a blog, right?
Yes. So it was in 2009. So what I first started doing was that I would start writing about my volleyball friends. So every week I send out like a newsletter to my friends, and I write about what's going on with their lives. So this was still during MySpace. Again, I feel very old. So it started on MySpace, and then I became friends with Brook Billings, who used to play for the national team. And Brooke said something, or I did something that caught his attention, and all he did was that he sent me a message and he said that, hey, I see what you're doing. Why don't you do something for the sport? Why don't you do something for USA Volleyball, for the team? And I was like, what, I'll see about that. I'll try. I'll see what I can do. And then I was just like, I think, this would be a great idea to start writing about USA Volleyball. And then this was in 2009. So I started doing that, and I created the Facebook page, I think in 2009, the website in 2010, October 2010. But between these years, 2009 and 2010, I kind of started working on the blog. I started to find my niche. I would doodle on the pictures of the players, which was really fun for me. And then that was my niche. And then I started kind of presenting my posts or articles in a way that was very personal, because to begin with, I never went to school to be a writer, or I'm not a journalist. I don't know how to say it, but I'm a blogger. So everything that I write is coming from the heart, and it's all personal. So I write the way I want to read something about volleyball. So I think this is really where my niche all started. So anyways, Brooke said, you know what, do something for the sport. I thought about it, and then I created Volleywood. And then, from 2009 up to this very day, it's Volleywood. It's probably the biggest. I think it's the biggest blog in the world, and continues to grow. And so, but that's how it all started.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that it started off as a Facebook page and then evolved into the website, because I first found out about it on the website, volleywood.net.
No, it started as a page, and then I started a website, and then
That's cool.
MySpace, man. Were you ever on MySpace, Donnie?
I did MySpace and Zanga back in the day. So we're still in the same generation. So I think most of the fans, according to the YouTube analytics, are between 18 to 24. So I have to put a screenshot of what that looks like, because they're not gonna know what MySpace is.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So how many hits a month are you getting now?
I just got my analytics for January. I think I reached 40 to 50,000 users for the month. That's really amazing, because for January, it's like a dead month for volleyball. There's not a lot of things going on. But I think 40 to 50, 45, I believe. So
that's amazing.
The most recent one.
And one thing I love about your website is that even when there are not major competitions going on, the articles that you put in between that are just as entertaining. Like the personal life, this person had a baby, this person, all the transfers that happen in between seasons or in between big competitions. So I think that's why you have that consistent following even during the off season, during the dead time.
Yeah, I think that's where Bollywood stands out, like to kind of just present the sport and the players in so many ways. Like if someone is having a baby, if someone is transferring from a really good team to a stronger team, or maybe to a richer team. But I think it's just really my niche, and again, that's where it stands out. So
So to piggyback off of that, I forgot to tell people actually how I met you. So I'm a little bit younger than Ace, and Ace was.
Are you sure?
I just turned 34.
Okay, I turned 34 last year, so.
Oh.
No, wait, I'm turning 30.
Wait, we're the same age then.
I think I'm turning 35.
Okay. Oh, shoot. Okay.
Wait, I'm 36.
Because I remember.
But anyway.
I remember I first met you, I think it was my freshman year of college, and I think we talked about something where maybe I remember you were like a year older than me or something. Okay, we're essentially the same age. Let's just put it that way.
But I totally forget how old I am right now.
I go through that all the time.
Okay, let's just say I'm 21. Okay.
Sounds good. So, for those of you guys who know, Ace has been pretty active in a league called IVL in our area, and we're playing, and we just happen to sit next to each other. We're playing, I think, the Double B on Wednesday or Thursday, and we're just, I don't know how we even got getting talking. Like, we're sitting next to each other, and we just talk about volleyball. And then for me at that time, I was trying to follow international volleyball, either watching it on the World League, which came out once a year, subscribing to USA Magazine or USA Volleyball and Volleyball Magazine. And then that's when I stumbled upon your website and I was reading all that stuff. And then somehow we started talking about international volleyball, and I was so amped because I had never met anybody else that was as interested about this stuff. And I still remember we're talking about like Alessandro Fei. That's when he went from middle to opposite. Papi from Italy. He's still playing in his late 30s, early 40s. And then the whole time I was like, dude, I finally met another addict that actually keeps up with this stuff. And then I told you, it's like, hey man, if you want to learn more about this stuff, you should check out this website, volleywood.net. It has all the latest news. And then you kind of looked at me for a long time. I was like, wait, you know that I that's my website, right?
This was at Wilcox Gym, by the way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was at Wilcox. Okay.
And I was like, what? You're the guy? And I was like, oh man, I was so starstruck at the time. I was like, I can't believe I met the guy that's writing this. Because I thought this was somebody in another country, because nobody cares about volleyball in the U.S., especially to that level, right? So I just assumed it was a foreigner. So that was like my starstruck moment, but that was pretty funny.
But you know what? Before we officially became volleyball friends, we used to be volleyball opponents.
Yes, the lefty.
I still remember that I played against you at San Jose State. I think this was in 2012, 2011. And you played with Josh Barina. And you also played with... I forget the other guys, but we used to play at San Jose State. There was a tournament. They beat us in 3 games. I still remember.
Oh, man. Was it guys or co-ed?
Men's.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Dang, they don't even have men's tournaments
anymore. I think on your team in 2012.
Okay.
This was like back then. So
dang.
Before we became friends, we were...
we were enemies.
Yes, totally.
So where has Volleywood taken you? Because it's obvious that the people who are listening don't know this, but you're obviously there doing a lot of great snapshots on your Instagram and your blog. So where has Volleywood taken you?
So within the last 10 years, I've been so blessed. I get to travel to some of the world's most beautiful countries. I've been to, so kind of like a timeline on where I've been. In 2010, I went to Rome for the Final Four of the World Championship, the Men's World Championship. 2011, I went to Long Beach for the Norseca Olympic qualifying tournament. And then 2012, I was in London at the Olympics. Yes, I'm a one-time Olympian. 2013, I went to Denmark for the European Championship, for the Men's European Championship. 2014, 15, 16. I'm not sure where I went, but I think I went to, I went to Long Beach again for the A6 World Series of Beach Volleyball for 2 or 3 consecutive years, which I honestly don't remember. And then 2017, 2018, I went to the snow volleyball tournament in Wagrain, Austria.
Wow.
I also went last year to the very first European Snow Volleyball Championship in Austria once again, and then Torino for the World Championship, and then I went somewhere else just recently. I went to Budapest for the Volleyball Gala, which is like the Oscars of European volleyball. So it was such an honor for me to be there, to be invited. I had a blast. So just a very brief timeline of where I've been, but for the most part, all the trips that I've done within the last 10 years, it's all because of Volleywood. So yeah. Man.
So out of all those places, which has been your most memorable Volleywood experience?
It would be the 2012 Olympics, because ever since when I was a kid, so my family and I grew up poor. So ever since I was a kid, I think I watched the 92 Olympics in Barcelona on TV, on someone else's TV, because we didn't have a TV at that time. And it was so, like, the crowd was like huge, and it still remained in my head that, you know what, one day I will be in the Olympics. It's either as an athlete or as a spectator. So growing up, it was pretty much one of my biggest dreams. So I finally did it. I went to 2012 in London. And then what even made it more special was that during one of the matches that I watched, this was the Brazil versus Russia quarterfinal match, which was probably the best match, women's match in the Olympics. I sat next to the husband of Lyubov Shashkova Sokolova. So I didn't know. I'm not sure if you know her, Donnie, but she's one of the Russian volleyball legends. So I sat next to her husband, and I didn't know. So then she starts walking after the match. She was crying, and I was like, "Why is she walking up like towards me? What's going on?" I was like, you know what? Maybe does she know me that I'm Bollywood? she would say like, "Hey, stop taking a picture" or something, right? So no, like she keeps walking towards me, and then I didn't realize that I next to me is her husband. So then they hug. She was crying, and I froze because I didn't know what to do. It's either I become the Volleywood in that very moment and start taking pictures or videos, but I decided to be the bigger and better person and just let her cry on her own. But I watched the whole emotional scene, and that just made the experience even more memorable. So yeah.
That you were fully present.
I was both as a person and as a Bollywood blogger, yes.
Yeah. That's hard to do in this day and age. I think people want to capture memories, but really the best memories are the ones that we're fully present in.
Yes. Really... I think I made the best choice to not take pictures or videos or anything.
Yeah.
But it still remains in my head, everything that happened, like her walking towards me, assuming that she knew me. But that wasn't really the case. But yeah, I think it was the most unforgettable so far. Everything else, they're great memories, but I think going to the Olympics in London was the best memory that I have for now.
And I think that was when Russia for the men's won the gold, right?
Russia beat Brazil in 5. After winning the first 2 sets, Brazil, they just started losing the next 3 sets because Musierski switched from middle to opposite, and then
yeah, and that's got to be one of the best coaching performances I've ever seen. Just to take such a big risk, and then Mikhailov played outside.
Outside, yes.
And they had him pass. I mean, they hit him in the side, but like what a coach has to say to the players and what he has to be able to do to make such big changes. They've never tried that before, except in that moment.
In that very match, that Alekno was just like, you know what? Let's switch things up.
Yeah.
Dima, you play opposite. Maxime, you play outside, and then boom, Brazil didn't even know what to do, right?
Yeah, there's no scouting report. It was nuts. Yeah.
No, but yeah,
that was awesome. Yeah, Alekno, one of my favorite coaches in terms of just everyone talks about how great he is with his relationships, and I guess the most stereotypical Russian style coaching is just a lot of yelling, a lot of negativity, which is just probably how they are culturally, which is, what works for them. But I think Alekno has an international appeal because he knows how to really communicate to players on a deeper level. And I remember Matt Anderson in one of his interviews, he said it's somebody that you want to be your best for, like someone you don't want to disappoint. Yeah.
I'm actually sad that he decided to just quit the national team. I think he could have taken that team to more success, more achievements, but he's very successful with Zenit Kazan. So yeah.
Yeah, this new group of Russian young talent is super talented. Like they're all around like 6'10", super athletic.
They just appeared out of the blues, like these super young, super amazing players coming from Russia.
Yeah.
Boom, but I think they have a very bright future. I think they could potentially win an Olympic medal next year, Russia.
Yeah. You know what they're going to do anyway? They're going to let somebody else just kind of keep them afloat for 3 years. And then during the 4th year in the Olympics, they're going to have Alekno come back and then win a medal. Right? That's what they did last time with just the last resort type of. And he pulled it together and they won the bronze, I think, right? In 2016.
Let the rest of, the other, let the other teams focus on, something, but then they're also working on something behind the scenes. And then boom, surprise. I think that's what Poland did, by the way. Winning the championship, they enjoyed allowing the world to see France, Russia, Brazil, getting all these victories, but at the end of the tournament, they were just like, you know what, hey, this is what we have and this is what we show to the rest of the world. Boom, they won the gold at the World Championship last year, which was amazing.
Yeah, second time, right?
Yes, 2 in a row.
Yeah. So what are the next big plans for the future of Volleywood?
You know what? One of my major plans is to actually create more original content. I don't know how to kind of implement or execute the plan, but I'm kind of working on it as we speak. Because nowadays there are so many pages, there are so many volleyball websites that I still want to be different from the rest of the team or from the rest of the other pages and sites. I want to be different, so I'm brainstorming as of late to kind of bring something original. And I think I've started doing it, by the way, which is doing Facebook Live interviews featuring all these players from different parts of the world, from different teams. I've interviewed more than 200 in the last year or so. So that's one of the goals that I have. But for the most part, I really want to create more original content. So we shall see.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that, guys. So you've also launched your own volleyball leagues and tournaments. Like, what made you decide to want to do that?
So since I am not in my prime anymore, it's harder for me to jump and play and compete in tournaments, even like 2-day tournament or full day tournament. So I was just like, you know what? Why don't I start running tournaments? Because I like meeting people. I like servicing people in a way that I get to kind of socialize and also market or, kind of promote Volleywood in the area, in the Bay Area to begin with. So the reason why I started doing leagues and tournaments is pretty much for branding. That's one. Number two, to kind of meet other players in the area. And number three, to create something competitive but fun for different athletes here in the Bay Area. So those three reasons.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to stay grounded when you have local support. And because it's easy to, I feel this myself with my YouTube channel. And my wife brought up a good point. I almost decided not to do clinics this year because I've been doing clinics for the last couple of years, and just because I'm trying to really push Elevate forward. So there's a couple of other projects I want to spend time on, and I have to say no to certain things in order to make time for other things. So I was really considering no longer doing my clinics and just doing summer camps. But my wife convinced me. She's like, no, that's like how people stay in touch with you. That's how you stay in tune with the local community. And even if people don't go there, they know that there's something available for them and they can stay connected and they feel more accessible to them. So
totally, yes.
Yeah, so I'm glad she convinced me to do that, because the clinics have been going well, but it is a good way just to stay in touch with people, like you said, meeting the next generation of volleyball players.
There's so many of them in the Bay Area. I'm telling you now, like all these young players, I'm like, man, like I can't catch up anymore. I can't hang with them. No, but yeah, I guess like what you said, to kind of create like this avenue for everyone to just meet and play and socialize, and at the same time you're also promoting a brand that you love so much, right? So I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get on to the more spicy questions.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want, Donnie.
I want to know, and I think people want to know, since you know so many volleyball players, not just watching them play in person, but meeting them, who is your favorite male volleyball player and why?
Okay, in terms of skills or personality?
Let's do both, and it could be the same person if meet both requirements.
So in terms of skills, I would have to say the best player, that I met in person, that I saw in person, it would have to be Leon, former Cuban player who is now a player of Poland. I met him in 2010 when Cuba won the silver medal at the World Championships. I think he was 16, 17, or 18 at that time, and he was just amazing. I was just like, man, like this young kid is playing against Brazil, one of the world's best teams, and he made it look so easy. And you could see how gifted he was. Like he was just physically gifted. Up to this day he is, but at that time he was so young, but he was just fearless, and it was just so amazing to see someone that great but so young, but at the same time, he was respected. There you go.
Yeah.
So as far as skills, it would have to be Leon on the men's side. As far as personality, the best or one of the best players who have the best personality, I think it would have to be a lot of the American players, Team USA. And I'm not saying the rest of the players that I've met are not nice, but it's also because of communication. English is, they speak English, the American teams, and some players from the other teams are not that what do you call this with English? So
fluent, yeah.
Yes, fluent, yes. So personality-wise, I think Team USA, men's and women's, have that. I think they are very well spoken, and they also know how to kind of deal with different media people, including myself. They're very professional, so that's a big plus. So to be more specific, I think there's Matt Anderson, Aaron Russell, Micah Christensen, the Shoji brothers, of course. Who else? David Lee, Volleyball, all these American players. And for the women's side, it would be there's Kelsey Robinson, Jordan Larson, Faluka. They're very, very nice athletes on and off the court, and also with media people. So yeah.
Yeah. And that's I think that's a top-down philosophy. I think USA Volleyball has done a really good job with the coaching staff, with Karch and John Sproul, especially now, of where character is just as high of a value as skill level. And they've made some pretty tough cuts, and I think part of that was because of character differences. That not only are you representing, and this is probably started with Marv Dunphy and Doug Beal, when you go out there, you're not just playing volleyball, you're representing the U.S. So you better damn represent as well. Don't be a fool. Otherwise, you can't be on the team.
They represent the country so well. Like, I've met a few of them in so many times. They're very consistent, like very professional, just very nice people, like very nice athletes. And I think that makes them a good, great representatives of USA, like not just here in the US, but also in other countries. And also for the women's side, sorry, to answer your question, I think the best player at the moment, just all around, I think it would have to be Zhu Ting of China. No doubt. I think she's 23, 24, and she's just amazing.
Yeah. Dude, she's nuts. She single-handedly wins competitions. Triple block, trash set, everything.
I mean, she has it all. Like, for someone who's doing so many things, she hasn't rested since 2016, I think. Man, like, I don't know what she eats. I don't know how she keeps herself so healthy, physically, emotionally, and she's just amazing. Like, she's been playing nonstop, and she competes in like the highest level too.
Yeah.
I mean, she is the world's best as far as all-around skills. I think it would have to be Zhu Ting in this generation, Maria Louise in our generation, I think in the 90s. So, I think those two.
Oh man. So for the young fans who don't know Maria Louise from Cuba,
yes,
she has probably like a 45-inch vertical. Was she 5'11"? She's not super tall either.
No, she's like 5'7" or 5'8".
Oh,
I think.
She's bouncing balls at that level. It was nuts.
I wish we had social media back then, because these younger generation would be like, man, like, look at Louise. She is just phenomenal, amazing. 3-time Olympic champion, 2-time world champion, I think. I mean, for someone who is 5'8", I think she's 5'9", but wow, she was just amazing.
Yeah, she's nuts. And I think part of Zhu Ting's success too, Lan Ping, I don't know if I read this on Volleywood, or maybe I read an interview about Lan Ping, or maybe from Zhu Ting. Probably would, probably most likely. You can confirm this one. But I think Zhu Ting was just really grateful for Lan Ping's leadership, not just because she's a great coach, but she understands what it's like to be in her position. Because growing up in the 80s when Lan Ping was playing, it's just hard all the time. Play, time, go, swing, 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 swing. And she didn't want that to happen to Zhu Ting. So I remember reading where she's always supplementing Zhu Ting with protein shakes and actively resting her because they want to save her for the big competitions and not overswinging, the count swing, something that didn't happen with Lan Ping, where she felt worn out, too early on. So I think that has a big impact on the structure of Chinese volleyball is, Lan Ping's leadership in that area.
Totally, yes. I think Zhu Ting became one of the world's best, mainly because of Lang Ping.
Mm-hmm.
Because she wasn't like that when before Lang Ping took over the national team again. I think this was in 2013 or 2014. Zhu Ting just continues to improve her skills, her all-around skills. And again, if not for Lang Ping, I don't think Zhu Ting would be this great.
Yeah. So how would you rank the opposite from Serbia? I already forgot her name. The lefty?
Boskovic.
She's nuts. How would you compare her to Zhu Ting?
It's kind of hard to compare them because they play different positions. So, Boskovic is more of like the go-to hitter, right? Like all she needs to do is really hit. She is the go-to scorer, go-to hitter of the team. She doesn't pass. But Zhu Ting has to do more than what Boskovic does.
That's
So
true.
I think I just did a recent interview too, and I named Boskovic as the best opposite in the world at the moment. While Zhu Ting is the best outside at the moment. They're so different, but I think they're both amazing athletes. They're very young, and they've achieved so many things, and they are such great representations of the sport as well because they inspire other people. I think young generation that you can start young and be great while you're young. You know what I mean? So I think both players are amazing, talented. I think with Paola Egonu of Italy as well, I think those three players, we're going to see more of them starting this year, next year in Tokyo during the Olympics and the years to come. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a very fair assessment. I would say is it Boskovic?
Boskovic, yes.
Boskovic. I would say her hardest hit is harder than Zhu Ting's hardest hit, but then due to their positions, Zhu Ting doesn't have the luxury of always hitting her max.
Yes.
She has to pass and transition and do all this weird stuff where Boskovic, like she has to be the assassin. I just need to sit there and take my hardest swing every single time. So it definitely is a different demand of position.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're great. They're both great, hands down.
Yeah. So who would you say is your favorite team to watch right now? Like if someone said, I'm going to give you a ticket to watch any team.
2 tickets for men's and women's?
Yes.
Okay. So women's, it would be men. I'm torn between China and Italy. I think it would be China. I like watching China. Again, because of Zhu Ting and the other players around her. I think they make a great team. So China for the women's, and then for the men's team, Poland. Mainly because I want to see how they do with Leon on the team.
So that's official. This year he can be on the national team roster.
Yes, he is going to be playing for Poland this year. I'm not sure if he will make his debut at the VNL, but European Championship for sure later this year.
That'd be interesting to see Kubiak and Leon. They haven't, not a knock on Mika, because I think he's done a really good job filling in the second outside hitter position, but they haven't really had, I don't know, when Yarsky was pretty solid, but they haven't really had that other, the other outside hitter. I feel like I think Bartosz Kurek has really stepped up, and I'm really happy for him that he won the World Championship, because he was just carrying so much pressure for so long that it was just kind of time for, like LeBron, the first championship finally breathed after all that criticism.
And the fact that, he was on the team in 2014 when Poland won the World Championship without him. And then he was criticized, and Polish fans were kind of giving him a hard time that, he'll never be that great, because he switched from outside to opposite, right? And before then, Poland had Wlazly,
Mm-hmm.
which was just amazing, the MVP at the 2014 World Championships. So people were like, you know what, he'd never be like Mariusz Wlazly to begin with. And then the pressure started to catch up on him. And for some reason, he was just like, you know what, I'm not going to be that player anymore. This is going to be me now. And look at him at the World Championship. He was just, I was in Torino. I watched the matches live, and I was just like, wow, like, what's going on with him? What's wrong with him? Like, I was just, he's just so good. Like, he is fearless, a trait that I didn't really get to see before 2016.
Yeah.
He was just like, you know what, this is me now. Like, this is my moment, and I'm just going to hit every single ball as hard as I can and win the World Championship for Poland once again. And he did it.
Yeah.
Very deserving to be the MVP.
Yeah. He was dominant. He was so dominant. And I wonder if that experience, because I think Antigua didn't take him, right? He purposely didn't take him.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably know the backstory more than I do, and feel free not to confirm anything because I know you have to stay on good relationships with everybody. But from the outsider's perspective, my guess is that Bartosz Kurek maybe had an inflated view of himself because he was touted to be this amazing star, 6'10" outside, really big arm, but struggled under pressure situations, and maybe it took that experience for him to be cut. And then not only that, the only way you can get back on the team is like, well, I don't know if I can pass as well as the other guys, so maybe I need to just switch to another position to still contribute in the way possible. And and because I've seen this happen even at the high school level. We've had one of the best liberos I had in our program when we went undefeated. Our only undefeated season during league was someone that I had a bench for 3 games because she had attitude problems. And when we showed to her that we were able to win, it was really hard to win without her. And I was willing to lose with her on the bench just to prove a point. But once she realized that we didn't need her, even though we really did, she totally changed. And she's like, well, instead of me feeling like I am the reason why the team's good, now it's up to me whether I want to be a part of what they're doing. And I wonder if that whole experience is what really allowed Kurek to be that next level player that we all knew he could be.
I think that possibly, and also I think he was discouraged, like he got cut, knowing that Poland was hosting the World Championship in 2014. As much as he wanted to play, maybe he just felt that he wasn't good enough. He got cut, or maybe Antigua saw that he wasn't good enough or whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But how I see his story is that even like normal people or normal players like ourselves, we go through that, right? We go through a phase where like, we're just not that good anymore. We can't play, we can't hang against all these other great players. But I think for Kurek, I think it was just that he went through this really difficult stage in his career with a national team that he just felt that, I don't know what could happen to me if I continue to just be this Kurek player, or I need to rise above from the ashes and just say, I'm going to take risks and become the best version of me post Antigua. And I think Coach Vital Heynen, I think he did a great job of kind of building him up, rebuilding him. I think he took so much risk, the coach, and for some reason, I'm just speculating, he probably like injected something in Kurek's heart and in his head that, you could still be the best player that you wanted to be. And no doubt he did it. He achieved it. And back to your question, back to my answer about having Leon on the team. Imagine Kurek on the side and Leon is on the left, and you have a Kubiak in the back row. I think Poland is one of the top teams to beat this year. And if they make it to the Olympics, I think they will win a medal.
Yeah. And they have 2 very solid setters to choose from, and good middles. Like they're pretty solid.
One of them is really young. I forget his name, but he's so young. I think Poland is in a really good spot of making it to the Olympics next year.
Yeah.
And they're hosting it against France, by the way. But so I think they're gonna win a medal if they make it. So yeah.
I would say 10 years ago, it was pretty obvious who was going to be top of the world. It was the usual Italy, Brazil, US maybe in the mix, Russia in the mix, and then occasionally you'll get other teams there. I don't know, maybe you can offer like see if I'm accurate in viewing this. I feel like every year it's almost a coin toss now with France. You got Serbia, you got Poland, and you got Brazil. Like it's not. I mean, Brazil is still always finishing in top three, but it's not that easy anymore. It used to be crushed. They would used to crush it in the finals, and now I feel like just every team has just become more balanced, and it's just hard to know who's going to take it each year.
My take on that, I think, and I agree with you. Like 10 years ago, it would always be Brazil, Russia, Italy, Cuba, maybe USA. Like those five teams would always win the medal. They would be up against each other, or the top teams to win the tournament. But I think within the last 5 or 6 years, or let's just say within the last 8 years, I think the teams that are winning now, I think they have such an organized, strong, high-level pro tournaments or pro leagues back in their country. Russia kind of invested a lot of money to create a really strong professional league, and they did that.
Yeah.
France, there is a really good pro league in France, and same thing with I'm not sure about Serbia, but I think Serbia has a very organized way of kind of developing young players. They're so well invested with the young athletes that they have, to a point that they continue to excel, not just when they're young, but also when they become professional athletes.
Yeah.
Boskovic, I think she started when she was very young, and she competed at the World Championship in 2014. She was only 16 or 17. So
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons. I think back in their country, they have a really high-level professional league, which helps them build up their athletes, their national team players. So I think that's one of the reasons why we see all these, teams like just battling each other to win the gold. There's Brazil, of course. They have a really great league in their country. USA, it's also like the NCAA, and also how I think the athletes are just amazing here back in the US. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. I think having a really organized, solid, high-level pro league in the country allows these national teams to excel in the international scene.
Yeah. And I know Serbia, they have a really good relationship with the Italian league, because I just see tons and tons of Serbians in there. So I think if they feel like the Serbian league is not challenging enough for certain players, they have a good system to go, other places to go to still meet the needs, and then they build depth by just having their own pro league in Serbia.
Yeah.
So
totally, yeah. So I think it's just really having a great foundation back home that allows these players to just really excel professionally and also with the national team.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're down to our two more questions, and we're running a little out of time. Because we could probably talk forever.
You should. No, I'm kidding.
We'll definitely have a part 2, 3, 4, 5 about stuff. And if you're a volleyball nerd, you gotta connect to Volleywood and get in.
We should do something like with the VNL and the European Championships that's coming up, and the Olympic qualification tournaments. We should do like a video. I don't know.
Like a commentary.
Show. Yeah, we should do that. It'd be so fun.
Like we play the video, and then you and I are the commentators.
Reaction videos.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we should do some like reaction videos. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
You'd be like the technical person. I'd be like the Hollywood person. I think that would be so fun.
Yeah, that's a great idea. No, for real. That's
me. I'm kidding.
That's okay. We'll keep that in the back burner for sure. All right, the last two questions. One is, who has been your biggest influence in your life?
My family. Because I have a small family on my mom's side, and we grew up facing a lot of challenging times, and the fact that we're still here, still together, strongly united, and still loving and still caring for each other. I think my family back home, back in the Philippines, and even here with my siblings, I think my family are the most influential people in my life.
Awesome. Awesome. And last question of the night is, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years?
Yeah.
So I'd be like 40 something. I think I would have, 10 years. See, I'm the type who doesn't really think a lot about the future. I'm more of like the present, like, enjoy the present, live the present. But in 10 years, I still want to be healthy. I still want to be able to do a lot of traveling and meeting amazing people. And I hope that Volleywood is still around, much bigger than what it is in 2019. And maybe a more like kind of like an Amazon type of brand. Like it's a hub for all these amazing aspects that make volleyball such a great sport. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it keeps growing, and I see more and more comments and more people knowing about it. So yeah, and I could definitely see that as being the go-to place in the volleyball circuit.
So, and hopefully I get to, I'm launching a clothing brand. So hopefully, we shall see. We're getting there with the clothing brand. So hopefully I officially launch it this year. And hopefully in 10 years, it's bigger than what it is now. So we shall see. Yeah,
so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Check out Volleywood clothing brand when that goes. You said sometime this year?
Yes, hopefully in this, spring or summer. We shall see.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, unfortunately, that's all we have time for today, but I know this will not be the first time we do this. We'll have many episodes together in the future.
Third.
And then I'm really excited about that project of being the commentators.
That'd be so cool, Donnie. No one is doing it.
Yeah. And so the people that do the college matches, ESP, those, I like Kevin Barnett and some of the other people that do it. Kevin Wong, they're great. But to have like the non-professional player perspective, because we haven't played pro, that'd be pretty fun.
That'd be so cool. Like, and you're very technical because you coach and you know a lot about volleyball, like the techniques and the skills, and and then I know about the personal life, the players and stuff. I think that'd be such a great combination, and we should try it. I think it would be fun to do it with you.
That's a good balance. Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in again. It's great again to have the founder of Volleywood, the world's largest volleyball blog. So make sure you check it out at volleywood.net. Stay tuned for his clothing brand. And also, if you're in the Bay Area, you want to join a volleyball league or a tournament, it's Volleywood on the Facebook page. You can check those events out. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode. If you want to watch more episodes of The Dig, make sure you click on the link. Should be up here in the corner of the playlist where I've interviewed Dustin Watton so far and Tyler Ray. And there's going to be a long list of other guests that I have in line for more episodes for you guys. All right. Thanks again, Ace, for doing this.
Donnie, thank you. Thanks for having me. Like Sensei Donnie. Thank you so much for having me. I think, the conversation we had like just for an hour is not enough. Yeah. But no, thanks for having me. And also thank you to everyone watching this or for tuning in. You know what? Keep supporting Elevate Yourself. Coach Donnie, Sensei. Bye, you guys. Thank you.
See you guys.